Today on Meet Your Body, we're going to have a little coffee date. So I'll chat with you about what's going on in my life, including a recent flare-up of some hip pain and what I'm doing for that. And so we're just going to sit and chat. I'm so glad that you're here today. Hi, I'm Jessica Valant, a physical therapist and Pilates teacher, and I want to bring science-based knowledge, empathy, courage, support, love, and hopefully some fun to the journeys we have with our bodies. There is hope and strength in your body, and my goal is to help you find it. Hi, thanks for being here today. I do have my coffee here in front of me, my morning coffee. So we're kind of going to have a coffee date today. I just want to chat with you a little bit. I was listening to a podcast yesterday myself, and the woman who is the host, she started by saying that she was in her car and she has a couple toddlers, a couple young kids. So she was recording from her car because the kids were inside with her mom playing, and she couldn't find anywhere inside that she could record quietly. And she talked about how she had heard before becoming a mom, she had heard from other moms how magical the car can be. And I had to laugh because that is exactly how I felt. From the very beginning, the car is magical. I will sit in it pick up before the kids come. It's like this quiet place. And honestly, even if, as long to this day, even if they're happy, like the car is this great place because we can just listen to music. I don't have to be doing anything. We can all be in there together. I do love the car. And honestly, if I had a way to record in my car, maybe I would, but I don't. So I am sitting at my desk as usual. Actually, probably going to be adjusting a lot today. We're going to talk about my pain and how sitting isn't the most comfortable. So I've been kind of talking about this on social media, and if you're in my Unlimited community, I've sent some emails. We're having our Pilates for Life challenge right now, which is so fun and going so well. You guys are rocking it and doing so awesome. So I've talked to you a little bit, those of you doing the challenge, about what I'm going through with my hip right now. I call it my hip, but really it's a lot of different things. So if you hear my voice moving, it's because I'm adjusting. Which, speaking of, this is what happens on a coffee date. I'm just going to go on a few tangents here. I was just listening to an NPR report this morning about sitting and how bad it is for us, actually, which I know as a physical therapist. I've read a lot about it. This is a really interesting subject to me, about how, one, we've lost the ability to squat, and how they actually show that this is tied to some longevity problems that we have. So the fact that we have lost the ability to squat in certain cultures show, like ours, in America especially, we have lost the ability to squat. We used to squat all the time, and then they were talking in like squatting down to work the fields, squatting down to go to the bathroom, all of these things. Then they talked about when the chair was actually invented and when people started using the chair more and sitting more. And then how, obviously, when computers came along, it changed everything about how we worked, how we had to sit, the positions that we used. And with that, research has found we have really, as a human society, especially in the US and in developed countries, we have lost the ability to squat. We've lost that hip mobility. We've lost the pelvic mobility. We've lost the strength to squat, and how all of that is tied together. And so in this report I was listening to this morning, they're encouraging people who do have to sit during the day every 30 minutes to get up and walk and move for 5 minutes. They're calling them movement snacks. And so I definitely am going to be focusing on that, because even though I am, movement is my job. So when I'm filming, I'm moving a lot. There are days that I am sitting in front of the computer doing Zoom calls and editing and answering emails. I mean, it is at least half my job sitting. I found myself in the car most of the day yesterday. So I've been sitting a lot. So I'm going to purposefully focus on just moving more. So going off of that, I figure I'll tell you what's going on with my body a little bit, because I know you guys ask a lot. You've sent some really nice, encouraging emails, but also I want to be kind of the guinea pig for you. Like, that's what I am. I talk to you. I'm pretty open and vulnerable about anything I'm going through in my body, physically, things that I've been through, to kind of help you make sure you feel not so alone if you're going through similar things, but also just to be there as for some information coming from someone who's just in this life with you, but also someone as a physical therapist, I can give you maybe a little bit different perspective on things. So I'll give you the background on what's happening with me. As probably almost all of you know, I have endometriosis. I was diagnosed 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago, through a surgery. And it has been a very big part of my life. Endometriosis is not curable. It is here. It acts as an autoimmune disease, meaning is it has its own lovely set of symptoms and things you can expect from endo and how it works. But it does act as an autoimmune disease. So it has many other components to it that act like an autoimmune disease. So for me, one of my first symptoms in my very, very early 20s, like when I was 19 and 20, I started having horrible back pain. Like pretty much it was, I didn't know where it came from. It didn't have a reason. There was no starting point. It just kind of came out of the blue when I was in physical therapy school. So more stress, sitting more, all of that made sense. But I remember times I would just have to lay down on my back. My back hurt so much. So I went through all the right channels. I had physical therapy myself through someone I trusted a lot. I had an MRI done. It was back in the day when MRIs were a lot easier to come by. So I had a lumbar spine MRI, didn't show anything. And so through physical therapy, finally my therapist said, she said, you know what? We have done everything we can. There is nothing I see that is actually wrong, like anatomically, biomechanically. You are strong, you're balanced. I don't see anything here that would explain the symptoms that you're having. It might be something systemic. And she ended up being right. That systemic thing was endometriosis. I had surgery, that first surgery, and my back pain, 95% gone after surgery. I mean, it was amazing to me. It was a really big lesson to me as someone in PT school, as a physical therapist at the time when I finally had surgery, and then just personally realizing, wow, there are things out there that are more nuanced and have more layers than we understand, right? In PT school, I was never really taught about that piece. We had an entire course called differential diagnosis where we did learn about severe things such as cancer, such as multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's, things that we needed to learn how to look out for, right? Regular symptoms. Like if you're seeing a client for what they say is shoulder pain, these are some differential diagnosis you need to help with to send them back to the doctor, right? If these red flags come up. So we had some really clear ones in that way. But my own experience, having my back pain almost gone from this endometriosis surgery, was the first time my eyes were open to say, wow, there's more to it than that. Like the body is super complex, extremely complex. There's no physician out there probably that would have told me, or orthopedist or even physical therapist who would have said, you know what, that back pain is coming from endometriosis. No, we didn't know enough about it then. And again, these nuanced layer pieces, it really helped develop me into who I am now, understanding there is so much more to the body than what we just clearly can see and understand. So I had surgery, my back pain went away. That being said, from that point on, and even before that, I had gone to the hospital a few times before my first surgery with severe ovarian cyst bursting. That's what I was diagnosed with. And it was always on the right side. And I always had a very hard time lifting my right leg in recovery from that. It just was so painful. So since then, even after my first surgery, my weakest link with endo was always my right side, my right SI joint, my right hip. I can't do a lot of inner thigh work or it will actually flare up my endo. That's just something I learned about myself. So it was always that right side, into the SI, into my hip, my low back. And that would just come on again if I had kind of a flare or those kind of things. So that's been my history for 20 years. And what I am assuming the reason is I have a lot of scar tissue. That's what endometriosis does, is it forms a ton of scar tissue in your abdomen and all over the place. When I had my first surgery, I was told I had scar tissue and endo all around my appendix. So I know it's more on that right side. So my assumption, my working theory is that all that scar tissue will get aggravated. It gets pulled tight, which then ends up pulling into my whole right side, my right pelvis, my right SI, my right hip, and it literally like pulls it all up and gets so tight and causes pain. And I've been able to manage it through just various things. Like I said, I know I can't do a lot of inner thigh work. I know that'll do it. And then I have a very personal stretching mobility routine that has helped over the years, over the 20 years now. And I've been able to manage that. But that's just been a part of my past. And so when I talk to you guys about listening to your body and really figuring it out, this is one of the things I think about for myself. Because that is something I had to listen to. I had to find the patterns in why that right side was hurting or when it would come on. And we don't always know the exact answer. Like I said, that's my working theory, because I kind of feel like we're not going to know until I'm gone from this earth and somebody looks inside and says, oh, that's what's going on. Sometimes you can't see it all. But that's my working theory, and it falls into the pattern that I've always felt and what's going on. So you really need to listen to your body when these things come up. You have to come at it from a scientist standpoint, because it's so easy to get into the emotions. And I know that. Like when this comes up, it is easy for me to say, oh my gosh, again, I've been through this. I've been through 3 surgeries. Are you kidding me? What happened? What did I do? What's wrong? Like it is easy to go to that place. But I found that if I come at it from a scientist of, okay, why might this be happening right now? What is my theory? What is my hypothesis? Does it hold true the next time it happens? I'm going to write down my notes. Like that is helpful. So that's a little side note there, is if you're going through anything like this, write it down, come at it from a scientist so that it will make you feel safer in your body, so that if it comes up again, it's not brand new to you. It doesn't feel like it's haphazard. You can say, oh, yep, that's why. Got it. That makes sense. It doesn't make it feel better, but it makes you feel safer in your body because it's a little more like you can predict it. It's a little more predictable. That's a big part that makes us feel safe in our bodies, is can we predict the outcome if we do this move versus that move? If I eat that versus that, like, can I predict how I will feel afterwards? So coming at it from a scientist will help from that standpoint. All right. So all that being said, in August, let's see, I would say July, like I had an endometriosis flare kind of happening, and I went to see a body worker that I see who's amazing. And I said, this is what I'm feeling, my whole right side. And he's like, oh yeah, you're exactly right. That whole right side is up. He worked on it a lot. I did some work on it and it felt a ton better, which it typically does after the flare goes away. Okay. So I felt a lot better. We went to Hawaii for a few weeks. My workouts are very different when I'm there. I did more trail running and things like that. And I remember finding I was feeling a ton better, like I said, but my right hip flexor was just feeling tight. I did more mobility work. I did all of that, feeling great, came home, felt good. Didn't think twice about anything. And then school started with the kids, and I did like what I would think of as a normal workout. I got back to the gym lifting weights, which I hadn't done for a little while because I usually don't do as much during the summer when it comes to weights. But I got back and it was just a typical workout for me. And I was sore for days. And we are talking like abnormally full body ache sore. Like, wow, I guess I was not ready for that workout. Okay. I rested. I did the things. I did lots of walks. Did it again. Like went back, normal, gave myself time off. Same thing happened. And this was a pattern for a couple weeks. When it finally hit me, this is normal for me for it to happen one time. Again, endo acts like an autoimmune disease. Okay, it's normal once. It's not brand new to me, but this is 2 weeks of this. That's not normal. And it stayed around for a while. And then a few weeks ago, it really started going to that right side. Actually, I shouldn't say a few weeks. We're talking 6 weeks now. It really started going to that right side. More so than it has in a very long time. And that's kind of where I am now, that it went to that side and it kind of hung out and decided to stay. And I've seen my body worker again. And I have, I've done all the things I would think are the right things. I have not done a lot of weights at all. I've tried so much to let my body do workouts that feel more predictable, that aren't going to be so intense. And then I got a cold. I will say I got a cold, which always will come to this point. But whenever you get sick, whenever you have a flare, it's going to find the weakest link in your body. And so I've just been having this right hip stuff. But when I say that kind of online, when I say this right hip stuff, it's deeper than that for me because it is so systemic. It really feels like it's full body. What's happening. Like I just adjusted my position right now because my right SI joint is just killing me. So I need to go back and see my body worker again. But that's kind of where I am with it. And I don't have a big answer for you, but I just thought I would tell you because it comes and goes. And I have a few lessons I'm trying to take from it. And it does feel better, like as my cold. That's something to keep in mind. If you get sick, it's never going to be a good thing for your body. As my cold, heals and I think I'm just healing from this flare probably. It is getting better, but it's definitely an uncomfortable sit. I had to be in the car a long time yesterday. I was moving around a lot. And then I remember back, I fractured my sacrum in February snowboarding. I kind of felt that a little bit. So it's just a lot of those things. And I figure, like I said, a lot of you have been there as well, where you have something that just comes and goes and comes and goes. And I always talk about managing them. That's a big part of what I want to talk to you guys about, making sure I give you the power to be able to manage things or at least ask the right questions. I have some shoulder things from my hypermobility that I know how to manage, and sometimes those will come up. I'll manage them. And this just feels, you get to the point sometimes you're like, wow, I've been doing all the stuff I'm kind of supposed to do, and this is still here. What else is going on? And I have some other working theories of other things that might be going on. Like it's possible I do have something real in that hip that isn't just endo related. A lot of times it's not just one thing. We have many things. So I have a working theory around that too. But my treatment for myself is going to be the same. So I'm just going to keep putting one foot in front of the other with it all. But that's where I am if I talk about it. I really want to get back to my regular weights at the gym, but I haven't yet. And I'm just taking advantage of that time to do other things instead. I'm doing more Pilates at home. I'm doing like some lighter weights. I'm doing more bands, things like that maybe I've let fall to the wayside. So I'm trying to look at it as an opportunity to change things up a little bit. And then I have a few lessons that I'll pass on to you that I'm trying to pull from this as well. So one thing, and I talked about this on social media as well, is going back to self-care. We have this view of self-care, and I have a whole podcast episode on self-care, actually, if you want to go back and listen to that. It's a good one. But we have this view that it's like rainbows and roses and candles and bubble baths, and it feels so good. And if we can just do self-care, we can relax and float away. And I just do not feel that way. When I think about self-care, it stresses me out, to be honest. Like the idea of sitting in a bubble bath sounds amazing. But the amount of prep and planning I would have to do to have like an hour to do that when the kids aren't going to come in and ask me questions, or I'm not driving them around places, or I'm not working, like that doesn't work for me. Self-care, I think we need to really accept that it takes commitment and it takes work. It also doesn't always feel good. The self-care I need to do right now are getting back to my hip stretches, which is a regular thing that I haven't been doing for the past 6 months, even to a year, to be honest. Because I was feeling great. That's what happens. We feel great and we let things fall to the wayside. And I know right now if I get down on the floor, like they're going to hurt. They're going to hurt when I try to do them because I'm tight and I'm stiff and things hurt a little bit. So self-care sometimes won't always feel good. It also takes time. It just does. But we have to do it when we have a routine, like whether it's physical therapy exercises you have, or whether it's the fact that you know you need to walk in the sun in the morning, whatever it is for you. Like it's different for all of us, okay? And I talk about that in the self-care podcast. It truly is different for all of us. So your self-care will not be the same as mine. But mine right now is to get on the floor and probably do my hip stretches every single day. So self-care isn't always easy. So that's one lesson I'm just remembering is that we, or I, have to commit to it. And I have to really keep doing it. Like, we want it to get to a point where, I never have to do it again. And that's not what managing something means. Managing something means lifelong. We have to be able to manage it. So that's where I am with that I need to personally right now, the self-care I need to do on that hip is to do some daily mobility work. I'm not just stretching it. There's a whole thing that I do. Like I said, it's just a personal thing that I do for my hip. But I need to do that. Another one is I really want to see a functional medicine doctor. And it was actually on my to-do / wish list for this entire year. So maybe I can still get it done in 2023. But I personally want to see a functional medicine doctor. I want every panel done. I'm at a point where I want to know how I'm doing. And I've done that. I've done the Dutch test for my hormones, and that's great. So that was one goal I had. I did it last year. But now I really want even more. I want to dive into blood work. I want to dive into things just to see where I am. I'm 45 years old. And I want to see, what are my levels of this? Is this up? Is this down? Just the things that the doctors don't get into that I feel like might help. So that's just me personally. Those are a couple self-care things that I am going to, I feel like maybe this should just be a kick in the pants for me to do it. Another thing to remember, and I've thought about doing an entire podcast on this, but I just touched on it. For you to remember, for all of us to remember, our body knows the weakest link. And if you do have an autoimmune disease and you have a flare, or if you just get sick and you have a virus or a cold, or if you are super stressed, anything that will run you down, anything that depletes some of your reserves, your body will know the weakest link and find it. For me, it's that whole right SI area. It just is. For some people, it's headaches. For some people, it's posture possibly. For me, it's actually pelvic floor involved with my hip. Whatever it is for you, your body will find it. So remember that, okay? I think it helps, again, put a little perspective on it, and it helps us be that scientist. And it helps also to feel a little safer in our bodies to know, oh yeah, that's why this came up. I'm run down in all these areas, and so I'm feeling it there again. So that's another little lesson that's important to remember. Another one is, for me at least, not to stop moving altogether. There are a few conditions out there as a physical therapist. When I see people, I say, oh my gosh, you just need to rest. There are definitely a few. But more often than not, it is beneficial to keep moving in some way, shape, or form. But you have to adjust, okay? So there's two sides that we want to avoid. One side of the spectrum is, oh my gosh, I just won't do anything. It hurts and I'm scared to make it worse. And absolutely, I understand that, okay? That nothing wrong with feeling that way. That's not a shameful place to be. It's a very understandable place to be. But we can't let ourselves go there. We can't become afraid of movement because movement heals. But then the other side of the spectrum is, I don't care. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, and I'm stubborn about it, and I just don't care what happens. I've been there too. And that's not helpful either. If our bodies are telling us something, we need to listen. And we need to, again, be a scientist. Don't let emotions come in necessarily, but say, okay, this movement isn't the best for me right now. And that's what I said about my heavy kind of weight days I was doing at the gym, or just being able to. Honestly, I just miss being able to move with freedom like I was for a while, that everything just, this is fun to try. I'm not at that place. Okay, so I have to be smart and be like, that workout isn't good for me right now. I'm not responding well to it. But this is what is. This is what I think is okay for me, so I'm going to do that instead. So movement, for the most part, is good to keep doing, but you also have to listen to your body, and you have to adjust what you're doing, knowing that it's not forever. Right? That's what I'm remembering. This isn't forever. It's not forever. It will go away eventually. I don't really know when, but I'm going to keep working to help it go away. And then when you're ready to come back intentionally. And that's where I'm slowly getting to. I think I'm almost there, but it's going to have to be really intentional. So I'm not going to come back to a 35-minute workout with weights at the gym. I'm coming back to 15 minutes tagged on at the end of a different workout. So maybe I'll do Pilates or go for a walk, and then I'm going to do 15 minutes, and it might be at home with lighter weights, or maybe it'll be at the gym. I don't know. But it'll be lighter weights, and it'll be just a few moves as opposed to all of them. You have to come back to whatever it is intentionally. And another piece to that is with the intention, making sure it's not too much at once. Like you'll start to feel better. And that's the lesson I had to remind myself of this morning. So I was feeling a little bit better. So I went on a trail run yesterday, which made me very happy emotionally. It was awesome. It was beautiful outside. I was so happy to do it. And then I wanted to go to a yoga class today because I'm trying to get yoga back into my life too, once a week. And today's the day. Tuesdays are the day I can do it. And today's Tuesday. So I was like, oh, great. And I'll do yoga today. But I woke up this morning and just realized that's not the smartest thing to do. I need to give myself a day off and do something normal again. I'm not taking a rest day, but I'm going to do something normal that's predictable for me, because right now it's been so long since I've done yoga regularly. That's not predictable. Like I need to be feeling really good, I think, to recover from a yoga session right now with where my body is. So to do a big trail run yesterday that I hadn't done in a while, and then the very next day do a hard yoga session, because I go to a hard deep stretch class. Those two things back to back is not a smart decision. So I'm not going to make it. I'm going to take another week off and do something else today, which I'm excited about now. I'm going to walk in the sun, and then I am going to try doing just some light weights. Like I'll do some for my arms because doesn't hurt my hip whatsoever. I'm going to do some for my arms, but I'm still going to be a little bit lighter to make sure I recover from it. Like I'm just trying to balance all the things. But that's what I mean by being intentional. Okay, so don't drop movement altogether, but be intentional about how you bring it back and how you get back to it. And I want to make sure we touch on the fact that you may need to see doctors and specialists through this entire process. I am not right now, but I've seen many through the 20 years of this and getting diagnosed and figuring out what's going on and tests. And I definitely have been through that. I have a team now of other people that I work with if needed. I'm just not at a point I need further investigation into this, I feel like. But that's open if I do need it. Like I will definitely seek that next step if I need it. If I feel like something's going on, I'll go back to see my urogynecologist actually, who did my pelvic floor repair. And that would be like my first step back to investigating if I feel like it's not getting better, or if it's getting worse, or it's staying in this place. So please know, if you are new to this, if you are having symptoms or pains and you're being the scientist and you're investigating and you're listening to your body, but you haven't taken it that next step and it's not getting better, definitely do that. Go the route that you need to make sure that you're getting the information you need, because then you can make more empowered decisions from there. So like I said, I'm not at a place I am right now because this is familiar to me. I've seen specialists before. I have people in my back pocket I can see if I need to. I don't feel like I'm at that place, but just know that that may be an important place for you to go, just depending on your situation. And I think too, like just kind of starting to wrap this up a little, I'm just going to kind of give you all my thoughts as I think about myself, really. I think sometimes we have to be willing to change our goals a little bit also. And I can't say I had these big goals necessarily around like this year that I'm trying to reach. I'm not trying to run a certain amount of miles. I'm not trying to do a 10K. I'm not trying to do any of that stuff. But we can just feel so defeated when this stuff happens. Like, oh, I have to stop moving again, or I have to change it again, or oh my gosh, I thought this was over. I dealt with this last year. I thought it was better. It's so easy to go around and around with that. And I think it's okay to let yourself for like 30 seconds. And then you kind of have to let it go because it just doesn't serve a purpose. And we can change our goals. And just know that that's okay. You can change them. Like, you can change them at any point. You can change it. If you are doing like the Pilates for Life challenge, let's say you're doing that with our membership community right now, and something comes up in life that you just can't do it for a week. You have to suddenly travel. Somebody gets sick. You get sick. Something happens. Okay, don't let yourself go down the defeated rabbit hole. That's okay. You change it up. Maybe you have to take a week or two off the challenge and then you come right back to it. And that is okay. That's called life. And we're all dealt different hands in life. And I have to remember, this is the hand I'm dealt. This endometriosis kind of confusing body, that's the hand I'm dealt. And that's okay, because I am still a really, really, really lucky person in this world. Like extremely lucky. And I'm so grateful for everything I have. And so if this is what I have to do and this is how I have to adjust, that's okay, because there's not a beginning point and an end point to this race, right? This is just a lifelong thing. So it's more of a journey. And so I'll adjust it for now. And then I'll see where it is in a few weeks and see where it is in a month. And I'll keep going from there. And that's what we have to do. We have to adjust, and we have to know we're not alone, and we can have these coffee dates together whenever we need to and talk about how that's the way life is. And sometimes it feels heavy and sometimes it feels light, and we're going to ride those waves and enjoy the place that you are in. And if you're in a hard place, please know that I am sending you lots of love and support. And if you're in a light place where things feel good and easy right now, then grab onto that and appreciate it, right? Enjoy it. You deserve it. Enjoy that time, because life will continue to throw us curveballs along the way, I have realized. So I'm going to get up now and do my movement snack, actually, before I sit back down and have an hour of Zoom clients. But I'm going to get up here for a minute. And I just wish you a very good day. And thanks for spending this time with me and just kind of chatting through things a little bit. And I'm excited to talk to you again soon. Take care. Thank you so much for joining me today on Meet Your Body. If you have a moment, please consider rating and reviewing this podcast, as it helps us tremendously. For more resources and workouts, you can visit my website, jessicavalantpilates.com, or find me on YouTube or Instagram at Jessica Valant Pilates.